Hey, what's up with it, y'all? Welcome to my podcast, Cold Narratives. I'm your host, Iceberg Green. About to let y'all hear some of these cold narratives. Check it out. Hey, what's up with it, y'all? Iceberg Green in the building. Today is Martin Luther King birthday, and I want to start off by saying, God bless him and his family. First off, that man, he set a precedent that will never be set again. He was a family man. You know, they tried to persecute him for him fighting for equality. And his thing, he was fighting for everyone. He was fighting for everyone. In my eyes, you know, he doesn't get the credit from all these other groups and people that come to this country because he fought for that. And he's one of the main reasons why that was possible for a lot of people to come here. And like I said, they persecuted him. You know, they tried to shame him and change the persona and how we seen that man. And a lot of times we get different stories about him. You see stuff about the I Have a Dream speech. And it was another part of that brother that really wanted black people, black Americans to get their due diligence. It was a big part of him. And I got some content, a speech. And I did something, you know, a year ago. The same speech. If I want to say this is fair use. All right, this is fair use. Check out this content.
White America must see that no other ethnic group has been a slave on American soil. That is one thing that other immigrant groups haven't had to face. The other thing is that the color became a stigma. American society made the Negro's color a stigma. America freed the slaves in 1863 through the Emancipation Proclamation of Abraham Lincoln, but gave the slaves no land or nothing in reality, and as a matter of fact, to get started on. At the same time, America was giving away millions of acres of land in the West and the Midwest, which meant that there was a willingness to give the white peasants from Europe an economic base. And yet it refused to give its black peasants from Africa, who came here involuntarily in chains and had worked free for 244 years, any kind of economic base. And so emancipation for the Negro was really freedom to hunger. It was freedom to the winds and rains of heaven. It was freedom without food to eat or land to cultivate, and therefore it was freedom and famine at the same time.
Also, I see a lot of people, they're saying, oh, Dr. King was fighting for all groups. He was for this, that, and the third. And they don't even want to acknowledge the part of when he was for his black Americans and us getting that check. They'll acknowledge all other stuff that he said. When you see Dr. King being spoke about, they're going to acknowledge everything he said and not the part about black Americans. They're going to leave that out. You know, this content I'm showing you is how Dr. King felt before he left this earth. He was serious about us getting our due diligence based on the tragedies and atrocities and all the things that black Americans face here in America. Our lineage, our culture is here, and he knows that. And I'm feeling his spirit right now, and he knew that. That's why when you see people and they mention his name, a lot of them don't get the history of Dr. King. They get bits and pieces. They come to this country and they say, oh, he was this or that based on what maybe the white media have told, maybe something they seen on TV. Dr. King was serious about equality for black people. He was serious about us getting what we fought for and had been fighting for. He just had a different method about going about it. He just had a different method about going about it. And you have to respect that. You have to. And I'm going to. So again, happy birthday to you. Back to this content. Happy birthday, King.
And when white Americans tell the Negro to lift himself by his own bootstraps, they don't look over the legacy of slavery and segregation. I believe we ought to do all we can and seek to lift ourselves by our own bootstraps. But it's a cruel jest to say to a bootless man that he ought to lift himself by his own bootstraps. And many Negroes, by the thousands and millions, have been left bootless as a result of all of these years of oppression and as a result of a society that deliberately made his color a stigma and something worthless and degrading.
Okay, so I hear a lot of stuff in the media. I hear a lot of stuff from white people in particular and all these other groups telling black people to pick themselves up from the bootstraps. And as he said, where was the boots at that time when you're saying this to black people and all the hostility we got and he got, as he was fighting for equality. A lot of those groups benefited from his fight. A lot of y'all groups out there that came here to America, I don't care if it's to this day, y'all benefited from Dr. King's fight. When we came here as slaves involuntarily, there was no economic base for us. You got to think about that. After going through years and years of slavery, and you come here to a country and they say, hey, man, you're free. But free to what? This is basically what he is saying. And like I said, in my eyes, he wanted to go the non-violent route to let America know, hey, we don't have to go that route. Just do what is right for black Americans. I believe that's why. And that was to a detriment, I believe, as well. He fought so hard for his black American people and people in general. And that's why I say, for me, he's a martyr. He set the standard for me to try to, handle things a certain way without being violent. And, in America, the situations that you see in life, you see the war and stuff, they're very volatile. There's a lot of violence going on. I see it a lot on television. I don't see humanitarian things like Dr. King was preaching about. I don't see those humanitarian things. Hey, let's fight for equality for black Americans like it should. And I'm talking about from the white media. I'm talking about from these people in higher powers. They all say that they, represent Dr. King and his agenda and what he was pushing, his narrative, all that. But when it comes down to it, they'll break down that one speech, I have a dream. So with that being said, again, I love you, Dr. King. Happy birthday and best wishes to your family. And I'm going to continue to fight in your name. Happy birthday. I want to thank you all for tuning in. I also want to say God bless those going through the struggle. And make sure you watch out for them cold narratives that the government trying to push on us, y'all. And to all my black people, I will be nothing without y'all. God bless you all.